TG Geeks, episode 172, June 4th, 2018. Corn dogs and mustard and the kids from Corellia.
Oh, my.
Hello, and welcome to another webcast from tggeeks.com, where Ben and Keith, the two gay geeks, talk about all aspects of geekdom and nerdery, sci-fi, comics, film, horror, genre. You name it, we talk about it. I'm Keith Lane. We're coming to you from TG Squared Studios in lovely, I can't think of anything witty, Phoenix, Arizona.
And I'm Ben Raggington, also coming to you from It's Hot as All Blazes, allergy-ridden Phoenix, Arizona.
Yeah. I expended all of my wit on this.
Just on the stinger?
On the stinger and on this interview coming up.
I got nothing left.
I got nothing left. So we have a little interview for you here, and we're going to talk about that right now. So here we go. This week on the show, we have a real treat for you. We've got Tommy Cannon, who is the creator of Fred the Mustard Packet. And before you start screaming and waving your arms and running down the hall, we'll talk about what Fred the Mustard Packet is. And he's also an improv comedian. So welcome to the show, Tommy.
Hello. Thanks for having me on your wonderful show. This is awesome.
Oh, my God.
Cool.
It's about time we had you on. I mean,
yeah,
with all
exactly.
the feedback that you've left us.
We've only been talking to you for 2 or 3 years, has it?
Yeah.
Something like that. I mean, you've been kind of...
we met us at a Jack Kirby birthday.
Yeah.
That's right.
So we are here to talk about Fred the Mustard Packet. But before we do that, tell us who Tommy Cannon is for our listeners that don't know who you are, and then you can kind of segue into Fred the Mustard Packet and what the heck that is and how that came about.
Well, I am a Phoenix-based cartoonist. I'm also an improv comedian, as you've said, with the mostly Improv Mania and the Torch Theater. I also do some puppetry as well with the Great Arizona Puppet Theater's Puppet Slams and other odds and ends. I pretty much make up funny stuff, and I do funny stuff.
You're just a funny guy, huh?
Yeah, and funny is real subjective, so it's like whatever I think is funny is what I'll do.
There you go. I understand. I completely understand that.
Sod everybody else.
Yeah. What I find funny, sometimes people look at me and say, I think I'm going to walk the other way.
Yeah. I've caused many people to cross the street in the middle of the sidewalk, yes.
Exactly.
Sure.
Oh, my God, there's that guy. Yeah, because to be honest, some of Fred's stuff is a little out there, you know?
Yeah.
But I love it.
Would you call it edgy or just weird?
Just both.
Well, yeah, it's a story about a sentient mustard packet. So, I mean, any kind of normal just gets thrown out the window and it dies on the street. It just, it's pure absurdist comedy, really.
Yeah, it really is. I appreciate it, and it just fits right in with my wheelhouse of weirdness.
Good. I'm glad our wheelhouses connect to make not just a wheelhouse, but a Venn diagram of weird.
I was going to say that. Yeah, it's a Venn wheelhouse.
So, what on earth made you decide to draw a sentient mustard packet?
Yeah, what was the genesis of that idea?
Some of this is, yeah.
Well, there's another Phoenix cartoonist whose name is Brandon Higgins. Brandon Higgins, he draws like all kinds of stuff. He's got talking food as well. He's got like a vampire corn dog or something like that.
Oh dear.
And at the time, he was very prolific and just getting work done, and I was just really impressed with that. So I just thought, well, I'll do something people haven't seen before, and I'll make it kind of simple enough for me to draw so I could do a lot of it. And that's kind of how Fred was born. And then Fred just kind of grew a bunch of friends, a family. He's me, essentially. He's like way more confident than he should be. So,
So it's your
that's
alter ego.
Fred in a nutshell. Or should I say that's Fred in a plastic packet.
Yeah.
So Fred's like an alter ego for you.
Yeah, in a way, he turned into that. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and it appears to take place in North Phoenix, somewhere around, what is it, Bell Road and 7th
Oh my
Street
God,
or
there's
something
actually
like
a
that?
location?
It takes place near like Bell Road and a little east of the I-17. It does have a location, yes.
Ah, yeah. I knew that you kind of allude to things in that area or that area, and I thought, well, where in the heck is this?
Yeah.
Where is Clem's Corn Dog Castle or whatever?
Yeah.
So you're trying to make
Clem's
it? Are you trying
Corn
to make,
Dog Corner.
Corn
Yeah,
Dog
I'm
Corner.
sorry.
There you go.
Are you trying to make it like socially topical as well?
No.
No,
If that happens, it's by chance. It's
yeah,
by
you're
dumb
not
luck.
Russ. Huh?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Anything topical or socially conscious just happens through subconscious.
yeah. So
I'm in it kind of for the lunacy. I guess like most absurdists, I just look at the real world and I see that it's crazy. And I'm kind of showing the real world how crazy I see it.
right.
And then when people say, your comic's crazy, and I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
that's the world.
And your point is?
Yeah, exactly.
And?
Yeah.
And what else is it supposed to be? It's a comic about a mustard packet.
Exactly. It's
For
all
heaven's
in the
sake.
title. It's called Fred the Mustard Packet.
Exactly.
I don't even use a name that's commonly used in this day and age. It's Fred.
Yeah. So
Fred was in the Desi Lou show.
he was.
Well, there was a Fred in Big Hero 6, but that's beside the
Oh,
point.
that's right. That's beside the point.
Yeah. Clem and the Corn Dog Corner. And how was it? I can't remember. I've been reading Fred since.
I hear Clem in the Corn Dog Corner, and I start to hear a banjo playing in the back of my head.
Well,
You should.
a banjo does feature in Fred the Mustard Packet somewhere down the road.
On the webcomic, yes, there is a ketchup packet that plays a banjo. So you should hear that because the ketchup packet's playing it.
Yeah, Kevin the Ketchup Packet.
Oh my!
Yes, you remembered his name.
Yes.
Wow, thank
And-
you.
and is Harriet the Honey Packet? Yes.
Yep. Harriet is modeled after my lovely wife. Fred loves her because she's sweet. So
Of course.
that's why she's honey, and they're the perfect combo. They're honey mustard, so
Hey.
Oh, ba-dum-bum.
they're in love. Yep, exactly.
There we go.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Tip your
he'll be
wings
here
down.
all week. Make sure to tip your waiter.
Yeah.
Yep.
Ex-
Screwdriver special.
exactly. We don't want this though.
No.
No crickets.
Correct. No. That just brings in the spiders. That brings in
Exactly.
the boredom.
So how you just kind of come up with this Fred stuff, and obviously you have a notebook of ideas. And how far ahead are you on your webtoons? Because you're releasing what, twice, or you were doing twice a week or 3 times a week?
Yeah, I'm doing twice a week now. I was doing 3 times a week before. Yeah, just whatever free piece of paper I have. I just kind of sketch down the next ideas that are coming forward, and then I just realize them into the full Webtoons pages once they're ready. And then, yeah, I can upload them to Webtoons and then just click publish when the day comes that it's time for me to release another page.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, I can work ahead.
Cool. And I know that you try to do kind of arcy stuff, a little arc here of this and that and the other. And
Yeah, as of the past few years, yeah, that's what I've been doing. He started as a gag a week. He's probably going to return to a gag a week, but while I've got these stories for him, I'm going to tell him.
Yeah, why not? I know that you really are into artwork. That I mean, you do that for a living, obviously, as a teacher. And but you're what is it that you're focused? What do you teach? What is your actual all day,
Oh,
everyday thing that you do?
I have just wrapped up 6 years of teaching K to 6 art classes, visual art classes, and I'm about to start the next year doing sixth grade writing classes. So I
Wow.
spent 6 years teaching kids to draw the comics. Now I'll spend the next 6 years teaching kids to write the comics.
Okay, so the kids that you started out in the first grade 6 years ago, you can teach them how to write now.
Yeah, yeah,
Cool.
yeah. It's pretty cool.
That's kind of neat. You're just
Yeah.
you're really that's a really noble profession, shall we say?
Oh,
Like
thank
being
you.
a writer?
Well, just being a
Well, being a
teacher
teacher.
and being an art. I mean, art is very important, and I know that you spend time with. Is it your niece and nephew or nieces or what?
Oh, yeah.
Flying colors
I have
sometimes.
6 nieces. Yes.
Wow,
Yeah, my
6.
wife and we've got 6 nieces.
Wow.
And my sister has a nephew or a niece on the way, so we'll have 7.
Oh, cool. So I know that you're always doing something kind of arty and artsy, and we won't say the other word. So that
Oh,
goes
yeah.
that goes with
Yeah.
artsy.
The
Yeah,
tootsie
we're
word.
stay away from that one.
Yeah.
Artsy tootsie.
Yeah, there you go. So what what are we here to talk about? Because
Well,
you've got your webtoon with Fred
yeah.
the Mustard Packet, and he's
And he has a
evolving.
Kickstarter campaign.
Yay!
Ah.
There we go.
Woo!
And so this is a completely different story. It looks
is.
like you shared a couple of things with me, and it looks really really cool. I'm excited.
Oh, thank you.
It's-
Yeah, I'm excited too.
It's going to be 50 pages. Is it? Did I
It's
look at that
100
right?
pages.
100.
100?
100.
Yeah.
So
Okay,
It's Fred the
details.
Mustard Packet does the Scottish play.
right. Oh, okay. So I saw that and I just divided by 2 because I was thinking number of pieces of paper. I guess is what I was.
Oh,
thinking.
okay.
But I didn't. I didn't
on
take
one of those things they do 4 per page because they fold it in half. So
Right.
that's 25 pages.
Yeah, it'd be 25. Sorry. Okay. So, what? Tell us about your Kickstarter and where you are, and as of this recording and tomorrow morning, you still have a couple of weeks left to
I
reach
do.
your goal.
Well, we're a little bit past the halfway mark, both in funding and in time. So it's like we're running at pace with time, it seems like to get ahead of time, wouldn't we all?
Yes.
Yes. And so that's exciting. The Kickstarter, I thought it would take 3 to 5 business days to launch. It took 3 minutes to launch. So
my.
that was,
Ooh.
I was out of the gate sooner than I thought, but hey, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's improv right
No
there.
kidding. Yeah.
And it is a response. First of all, it's a comic book I wish I had when I was 16 years old and in theater class in high school. Absurdist, goofy, about theater, and with some sci-fi and horror elements thrown in for fun. And yeah, it's just nuts. He's just trying to do a one-person production of the Scottish play from Shakespeare. And this is because my wife and I, we were in the East Coast. My extended family lives in New Jersey, and we had a day in New York City. We crossed the river to New York City, and I love theater. She loves theater. I was going to take her to her first Broadway show, and we did go to a Broadway show. It was a one-person play of the Scottish play. I'm saying that just in case someone's superstitious out in cyber world.
Uh-huh.
It was a one-person presentation of that by Alan Cumming.
Oh,
Right.
okay, that one, yeah.
Oh.
We were promised a tour de force, and I don't know, maybe he was hitting the Quaaludes that day, but he gave a muddy, murky performance. My wife fell asleep a couple times. I had to hold her hand and pick it up and drop it a few times.
Yeah.
make her
dear.
not snore during the show, and we were just really disappointed. And we're like, oh man, we should have saw Kinky Boots instead.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so you were expecting a tour de force, and you got a tour de farce, huh?
Yep, tour de
not
farce,
even.
tour de snores.
Yeah, true to
Tour de
snores, more like it.
Yeah. Wow.
That motivated me to make this comic book, and so now I'm sure there's a lot of weird drama kids out there who would have also enjoyed this comic book. So this was made on just the blog before the webtoons, so I thought, let's bring it to book form.
Cool. And that you are covering your costs, obviously, and hopefully making just a little bit more than covering your costs for your effort. But, we were talking to somebody yesterday and said that their podcast was profitable, and I said, well, profitable means 1 penny more than covering your costs.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So hopefully you have enough to cover your costs there and all of the things that you've got.
Any overhead that
Right,
you might have.
Exactly.
Yeah. I used to work for the puppetry store. Like, people would order their books about how to build a marionette or something,
Right.
and I would have to ship it and all that stuff. So I know the cost of all that, and so that I planned it accordingly. And if you do choose to be a backer on this condimented project, I do have the shipping built into the backing levels. So there's no shipping cost behind any cyber corners that you turn in there or anything. What you see is what you get. It's up front.
Oh, cool. That is really cool. I know that we've supported the Kickstarter because I'm
yes.
The
interested.
Kickstarter.
I want to have one in hand.
Yeah, thank you.
It's kind of neat to see Fred on the intertubes, but it would be kind of nice to have Fred in my hand as long as it doesn't get all over my hands.
Yeah, it's only if you
Don't
squeeze them
squish
too
it
hard.
too much.
Oh, dear. We're going to start taking this in rather inappropriate directions now, are we?
No, he's a packet. He's a packet. You don't want to squish him too hard.
Yeah. Spew his
Yes.
guts all over the place. Anyway.
Alas, poor Fred, I knew it well.
Yeah, there you go. A little more Shakespeare.
Or Shakespeare. There we go. You should try Hamlet next time, yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
So I'm looking at some of the Fred strips on Webtoons. Well, for starters, how regularly have you been publishing these strips?
I can't remember when I started on Webtoons, but I know that I started Fred in 2010.
Wow.
May of 2010, so he's 8 years old.
Wow, that's a long time to be drawing a mustard packet. But that, the endurance of that says that you have more ideas, and, obviously you wouldn't do it if people didn't like it, or or you didn't like it. Anyway.
Yeah, if you weren't enjoying it.
Yeah, I know I have people reading it in other countries. It's unusual to have it so localized that it's near I-17 and Bell Road, but then to have like people email me that live in Germany telling me, "Oh, Fred should do Peter Pan." And that's Bill Murray in it.
I know.
What? Okay.
I'm
not going to do that, but thanks for writing.
Yeah,
you can start introducing like German mustards,
There we go.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Or Grey Poupon.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh my God. There's a good one for you.
He does have a Grey Poupon cousin. Yeah.
He does.
He does.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, you start introducing, other condiments from outside, from Europe, and then that could really open just well, I don't want to say a whole can of worms, but wow, the possibilities then sort of become endless.
Yeah, you could have Leon the Lingonberry.
Oh my gosh,
what?
that's a good one. Oh, you're gonna have your lawyer sue me for taking that.
No.
I didn't know that one.
I had a contest once, and someone in Mexico had me do one of a chimichurri bottle. So we have gone international. Yes.
Yeah, well,
Far out.
we're kind of international too. We have a regular listener that's been with us since way back in the Slice of Sci-Fi days. So
Norway.
Norway, and then Ireland.
Oh,
and,
Claire.
Oh,
yeah. So it's kind of neat.
Now, how did that make you feel when you? Because from your perspective, because Keith and I were talking about this when it came to our own podcast. But here you are, you're creating this, you're doing this piece of work, you're doing it. You're I guess for lack of a better term, you're sort of isolated as you do it. You're very and insulated at the same time as you work on this, and then all of a sudden you start finding out that it's now having international appeal. I mean, what does that do to you?
I mean, it's just a great compliment that people just across the ocean are looking for comedy, and they're looking for comedy in stuff that I made up, and that's just very humbling. It's just very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And to think that humor, across boundaries, it kind of changes. I mean, even within the U.S., I mean, some humor that we might funny here in the Southwest, may not be considered funny in the Midwest. So now, and to realize that you're writing something that has got some kind of international appeal, that's just really got to stoke your fire.
It does, and I also realize that they're probably, laughing at different aspects of it. Of look at this stupid American making this thing.
Oh, don't think of it that way.
You never know.
But yeah, it's wonderful. I love it, and I love hearing just once in a blue moon, just when I'm putting up flyers in downtown Phoenix or something, I hear somebody go, "Oh, I love this strip." I go, "Really? You know about it?" I'm always blown away that someone, one, likes it, or two, they even have heard of it. So,
right,
that's
exactly.
really cool.
We hear that a lot. It's just, we've heard of you guys.
You
what?
have? You've actually,
know.
You've actually listened to us? Wow.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's weird, isn't it?
It's a very, very, very odd feeling.
It's surreal.
Yeah. So again, going back to these strips that you have here, like on Webtoons, how much time do you put into these? And as far as the material goes, I mean, I assume the jokes, they're coming out of your head.
Yeah. The jokes, they just fall out of me. Gosh, if I would guess at this point, it takes me about 20 minutes to make one of those pages.
Oh, wow.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
Thank you. But that's not me at the top of my game, though. If you really want to see how well I can collaborate with others, how well I can draw, check out My Big Break by Philip Haldeman. That's me drawing for real.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And that definitely pushes me to my limit. And if it wasn't for Kyle Bennett inking and coloring, it would not look half as good as it does. But yeah.
Interesting. So what is the future for Fred after this Kickstarter? Do you think that there might be another one? Should this one take off? And obviously you could produce more because it would, more of this one and just throw it up on Amazon or something.
Yeah, I will definitely do that. It'll definitely be an e-book for sure. I'm also looking at uploading it onto Gumroad as a PDF as well. I know people have moved some of their stuff to Gumroad just because I don't know what it was that made people not like Amazon. So I'll have both Amazon and Gumroad for Fred.
Oh, cool.
No matter how the Kickstarter goes, it'll still be an ebook.
Right. Well, that's kind of fascinating.
So if people want to know more about learn more about Fred, as you said, it's Webtoons. So how can they find all things Fred the Mustard Packet?
And Tommy Cannon.
And well, I want to get to that next.
Oh,
but
sorry.
First, because we're talking about Fred.
Let's do Fred.
Let's talk about Fred. How can
look up Fred the Mustard Packet on webtoons.com.
Okay.
And just search for Fred the Mustard Packet, or for me, Tommy Cannon, and it'll come right up. Oh, you also find Cross Guardian, a superhero short story I did. Hey, if you want to see me try to draw a superhero, look at that.
Cross Guardian?
The Cross Guardian. He's a superpowered Cross Guard.
Yeah,
He's
it
the
was
derpy
kind of
superheroes. Yeah.
okay. I kind of thought that's where it was.
Oh
going.
yeah, that's right. He is one of the derpy superheroes too. You could also look at fredthemustardpacket.blogspot.com.
Okay,
I blog about Fred there.
So now, if they want to learn more about you, because obviously you've got a life outside of just Fred the Mustard Packet, as we said. I mean, you're also a stand-up comic. So how can people learn more about you and what you're doing?
Okay, I am on Twitter at Tommy Cannon, and I'm on Instagram at Tommy T-shirt Cannon, and you can find me there. Wow. And I beat the famous Tommy Cannon in England to Twitter.
Oh wow!
I have Tommy Cannon,
and
He's Tommy Cannon.
You've also got Fred the Mustard.
Oh yeah, I got Fred the Mustard.
Yep.
I couldn't fit Packet in there.
PKT.
But I've got Fred the Mustard on Twitter.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. Well, this has been really fun. I think you should have Mario the Marinara tub.
Oh, nice. Nice.
Sarah the Salsa.
There we go.
Oh my
God.
I love it.
I mean, we could be doing this for another show,
now.
please.
A whole show of
Vincent
Fred's
the Birdie
friends.
Salsa.
Woody the Relish.
All right. Well, Tommy, thank you so much for being on the show this time. Everybody support independent creators. It's always worth it.
Yeah, hashtag support indie creators.
Thank you very much. 2 Gay Geeks.
Hey, it's Brian Augustine. Some people say I'm a comic book legend, and who am I to argue? You're listening to 2 Gay Geeks, and I don't exactly know why, but have fun.
Here are a few selected birthdays for June 4th through June 10th, 2018. June 4th, Rosalind Russell.
Auntie Mame.
Everybody needs an Auntie Mame.
Absolutely.
And Keith David. June 5th, Kathleen Kennedy, who is the producer of Star Wars. And
president of Lucasfilm, if I'm not mistaken.
Exactly, and was
oh dear,
Steven Spielberg's right-hand lady.
For quite some time, yes.
For quite some time, yeah. Also on June 5th, Bruce Lee. And Tim Calloway.
Vegas voice actor.
Yeah, and good friend of yours for a very long time.
Yeah, oh gosh, going back since 1975.
Yeah. And our neighbor Ramon Quintana. Happy birthday, Ramon. And Joe Boudry from Phoenix Fan Fusion. June 6th, Jason Isaacs, Robert Englund, Harvey Feinstein. That hurt my throat.
Yeah, I'm sure it did.
And Aram Khachaturian. Aram Khachaturian wrote the Saber Dance and also the Adagio that is used in 2001. That where they're on the
Discovery.
The Discovery, exactly. June 7th, Tom Jones.
What's new, Pussycat?
What's new, Pussycat? Whoa, whoa, whoa. And Liam Neeson and Prince and Carl Urban. Also on June 7th, Sherry McDowell from Origin Beyond the Impact. June 8th, Robert Preston. Nancy Sinatra. These boots are made for walking. I actually like Mrs. Miller's rendition better.
I couldn't even begin to do that because she manages to shift that into a whole upbeat kind of thing. But anyway, happy birthday, Nancy.
Yes, and Colin Baker, Frank Lloyd Wright, who is a famed architect and also has Taliesin West here in
Upper
Scottsdale.
North Scottsdale. If you ever make it to North Scottsdale, go to Taliesin West. It's open for tours.
Yeah,
and it is amazing.
Yeah, I don't know if I've told this story or not, but when I was a kid, my dad was, he had gone to be, taken some architect classes, shall we say, and designed a couple of houses in our little hometown. But I was kind of, 4 or 5, something like that. And I drew this thing, and it was a big round house. And he said, and I never realized until I was an adult what he was actually saying. He says, "Oh, it looks like Frank Lloyd Wright House." So it was the round house.
Very impressive.
Anyway, yeah, and I think I still have that drawing somewhere.
Really? After all these years?
In a box somewhere. Anyway, Also on June 8th, Robert Robinson Taylor, who was another architect of color, a man of color. He was the first man of color to be admitted to MIT.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, so an architect in his own right. And June 9th, Les Paul, Cole Porter, James Newton Howard, and Danny Roberts from
Happy
Cottonwood.
birthday, Danny.
Happy birthday, Danny. June 10th is Judy Garland and our friend Barbara Dillon from Fanbase
So
Press.
you got to see last week, and I missed her.
I'm sorry. We were going to go by, and I just we had other people with us, so we forgot to go
Out
back
of sight,
by.
out of mind.
Yep. And that's it for the birthdays this time.
Hi, this is Barbara Dillon, one of the co-hosts of Fanbase Press's flagship podcast, The Fanbase Weekly. During the Fanbase Weekly podcast, the co-hosts and I discuss the top geek news stories of the week. In each episode, we are joined by special guests from all across the pop culture spectrum to get their take on what's happening in geekdom. Past guests have included Jeffrey Thorne, writer of Leverage and The Librarians, DC All Access's Jason Inman, Debbie Lynn Smith of Chimera Press, Xena Warrior Princess executive producer Stephen L. Sears, Ashley V. Robinson of Geek History Lessons, and many, many more. Join us for an episode of the podcast that celebrates fandoms on a weekly basis. A new episode of the Fanbase Weekly is released every Monday. Be sure to subscribe to us on iTunes or look for the podcast at fanbasepress.com.
Go give a listen to our friends Barbara and Bryant Dillon, and I put that in there because it's Barbara's birthday.
Of course.
How about that? Or, well, at the end of the week. So tell us, go listen to them over at Fanbase Press or Fanbase Weekly. There we go. My gosh, where am I?
Phoenix?
And what are we doing now? We're dancing.
Well, I got a little bit of feedback right here, and starting off, we had a review for the third Child of Atlantis book titled Catalyst, and I got a comment from Carol Chernich, and she says, I love reading and hearing about Atlantis and Lemuria. Well, Carol, if you do get these books, they are tons of fun.
Yeah, and Carol is my cousin.
Right.
My mother's cousin, second cousin, my second cousin.
Something
Anyway,
like that,
yeah.
And then moving right along, contributor Andrea Richoff did a review for the movie on Chesil Beach, and we got a comment from Hamish Downey. He says, it looks beautiful at least. And then moving forward to a news sushi, morsels of news from Japan and beyond, issue number 12, specifically about a UK artist named Garth Getrix. Garth himself writes, Hamish Downey, that's very nice of you. Thank you. And Hamish responded with, you are very welcome. Hopefully your work will be exhibited in Arizona in no time.
Yeah, well, that could be fun.
I would like to see it.
Yeah.
I was looking at some of it on Twitter. It's actually not bad at all. Very interesting. And then we also recently ran a 3-episode thoughts of the CBS series Elementary, and got some comments there, starting with Jeannie Koch. She says, I'm not reading the review because I adore the show and I'm saving it for a binge. Well, very nice, Jeannie. And then David Lowe on Twitter writes, thanks for this look at the current season of Elementary, one of my favorite shows. And then Barb Spitz on Twitter writes, hashtag best show ever.
Aha.
Well, you're not going to really get much argument. I think that's the only network show we're still watching now.
I think so.
I think it is. And then lastly, we ran an article about Phoenix Comic Fest and how it is to be renamed Phoenix Fan Fusion for the year 2019. And got a comment from Hamish, and he says, Fan Fusion? It's an odd choice at first, but as there is more than just comic books, I guess it is a fusion of fans.
And that's kind of what they were going for.
Yeah, that's kind of what they were aiming for. And that is our feedback for this week.
And we want everybody to know that you can comment. You can give us feedback on any of the places that you find us, whether that is on Facebook, on any of the articles that we run, on our website, tggeeks.com, on Twitter, on any place that you find us. You can comment on each episode that we run for the webcast or any article that we run. We've got the comments open on all pages. So please do that. And if you do decide to comment, please play nice. We don't want to have to edit your comment or delete your comment. So we just ask that you play nice. And if you want to, you could even call us on our listener line and give us some voice feedback, and we'll play that on air. You can call us at 469-TG-GEEKS. That's 469-844-3357.
Yeah, baby. They're like two gay geeks. They're together, you know. They're two gay guys and they're geeks. Is that okay?
Sir. Are we doing this again? I'm going to wait till you're done.
I'm done.
Oh, thank you. I saw that hand go over that mixer. I was like, oh man, do I have to stop again?
No.
Anyway, there's a little bit of controversy about a movie that just recently came out, and that is Solo, a Star Wars story.
Yeah.
Now Andrea, we got to send her to a press screening, and she wrote a review. She was she was not as favorable about it as we were. We saw it on a Thursday night, and our review came out for that the very next Friday, so that'd be last week. And you and I, we really enjoyed it.
We saw it again.
Saw it again just a couple of nights ago.
Yeah.
After as of this recording.
Yeah.
And yet this movie,
up.
I think this movie holds up really well.
Well, one of the things that that I said after the film, and we seeing it the second time, is that there's some really cool that was really cool moments. There's, as a whole, the story is a little, I guess, a little flat, but there's some really good fill in the blanks, shall we say, in Han Solo's background, and some interesting things on why his character does what he does.
Right. I mean, and I have absolutely no problem overlooking any. And you're right. I mean, the movie's very uneven.
Yeah.
And I have no problem.
Again.
Yeah. Again, I don't have a problem overlooking that, because this movie had to face something that no movie should have to face, and it's making, and that is 70 to 80% of the film had to be reshot by Ron Howard
in the last 8 months of it.
Right. And the movie had a hard deadline.
Yep.
There was a release date. Now, maybe they fudged the release date by a week or two here and there, but it's not like, okay, we're just going to, we're going to push this thing back 6 months. There wasn't any of that. And I think the reason for that is Disney desperately wanted to see if they could do 2 Star Wars movies a year.
That's a lot.
Well,
that is
but Marvel is doing it.
Well, that's true, but they were geared up for that.
True.
I mean, that was kind of their whole thing to begin with. So trying to do this, it kind of, I don't know why they lost control of it and let it go on so long. That's kind of the question.
You mean Star Wars?
Yeah.
I honestly cannot answer that one. All I know is I'm looking right now at a news article about the box office for this one, and the current weekend, and this is as of 16 minutes ago from this recording, the current weekend estimate of U.S. ticket sales, 29.3 million. I mean, this is a huge drop.
Yeah.
Massive, massive drop. And there was some hope from Disney that maybe the movie, based on word of mouth, would actually kind of see a pickup for this last week, that they would see an increase. And no, this is a massive drop. And I can't help but wonder if this isn't going to cause Lucasfilm and Disney to maybe rethink their entire strategy. And the problem, well, I hate to say this, but I think one of the things that I keep seeing from people is that there's a lot of Last Jedi hangover.
Well, that's possibly true.
I don't know if that's the case. I mean, I've made no secret of the fact that I found The Last Jedi to be one intensely disappointing film. I mean, I didn't hate it. I was just thoroughly disappointed by it. And yet, I would have hoped also that people would, especially Star Wars fans, would take a look at this and say, okay, this is not a major arc. This is something that is completely, it's an offshoot. Rogue One was a big hit.
Right. I liked.
Oh, I loved
it.
Rogue One. I mean, that is, to me, Rogue One is just one of the finest movies I've seen in a very, very long time. So I would hope that people would have thought, okay, this is another offshoot. This is not part of the arc.
Right.
This isn't J.J. Abrams doing it. It isn't Rian Johnson doing it.
Right.
Ron Howard is doing it. The guy who brought us Apollo 13.
Ron Howard is now doing it.
Yeah, now doing it. He picked up the reins. The guy who brought us Willow. I mean, he's an Academy Award-winning film director.
Yep.
I would have hoped that people would take a step back and objectively look at this and say, maybe we want to take a second. We'll give this a try. I know that a lot of people didn't like the lead actor who was playing Han in the initial trailers.
Yeah, I sometimes at the very beginning of the film, I was kind of like, oh my God, because he's just a little stiff at the very beginning of the film.
Mm-hmm.
But I warmed up to him.
Well, the thing that I don't know if a lot of people realize is that when the movie was being directed by the first pair of directors before Ron took it over, they were going for a largely improv kind of acting.
Yeah, interesting.
And, it was not hard script and hard directing kind of thing. So if that's the case, then it's very possible. And maybe they were trying to play off the idea that Han has got this really spontaneous nature about him.
Well, then they needed to write spontaneous dialogue for him.
I got to think about that.
I mean, well,
I know what you're saying. Write dialogue that comes off as spontaneous, and I think that's what it finally came out as. But unfortunately, that's not how it started, and as a result, the poor lead actor, I mean, he comes off really weird. I could see how maybe the initial trailers, a lot of people thought, okay, this guy's not going to really work it. But as we started getting close to release date, I mean, we've somebody that we've interviewed in the past, Mark Ross, who lives in Vegas. I mean, he and I communicate quite frequently, and he went off to say that he thought the trailers looked terrible in the beginning, but right as we were approaching release date, he thought, maybe I could be wrong about this. And he and I have talked since then, and he actually liked it. He found the movie to be rather enjoyable, not as much as I did,
right? But
he did enjoy it much more than he originally thought,
right? And I enjoyed it much more than I thought I would. I went in with a sense of trepidation and I was not trying to hold my breath, but I was holding my breath.
Mm-hmm.
That it was going to be good, and all in all, I liked the film. I mean, I guess going in with that lowered expectation certainly helped.
That always does help.
And I think that people that have gone in with higher expectations maybe are disappointed. And that may be what's playing into this.
Well, that might have been why I was so bummed out by Force Awakens and Last Jedi, because I went in with some pretty high expectations.
Exactly.
So maybe that's the trick is, go into the theater expecting it to be another bomb and then come out surprised. And I'll admit, I
hate to do that, though.
I know, that's not, I don't like to do it either. But I would encourage people, if you haven't seen this movie, go check it out. There's a lot of fantastic universe building that is taking place here. As you said, it really does a great job at filling in the blanks.
Yeah.
I mean, the introduction to Chewbacca is just fabulous. I
think that is just incredible.
It's enjoyable. And Donald Glover as as Lando Calrissian.
Lando.
Lando. Han.
There we go.
Yeah, obviously there's a joke there.
Han.
Yeah. Ha, ha, ha.
Han.
Lando.
Han.
When we okay, I'm stopping. The very first time we see Lando at a Sabacc game, it's like you think you're hearing Billy D. Williams.
Exactly.
I mean, they nailed this. There are so many fine details. It's. I think this movie's more about the Easter eggs.
Yeah, it is.
Really?
I think so.
That alone makes the movie a ton of fun.
Absolutely, especially if you are a diehard original saga.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of, it was interesting the way they used the music in this. We talked about that during and after the film the second time. And I noticed the first time there's certain moments that they call back to New Hope and Empire with some of the musical cues. They're a little different, but
slightly, yeah.
But they are musical
but they're
cues.
callbacks nonetheless. I mean, there's a really beautiful moment of Imperial music being played at an Imperial recruiting station.
Yeah.
But it's like the Imperial theme done in a major key or something like that. I mean, it's ridiculous. But yeah, and I was talking to somebody else on Facebook earlier today, and it occurred to me again. I think it's because they had to reshoot 70 to 80% of this movie, that maybe it was necessary for the composer to actually cull more of John Williams' original score.
I think it was brilliant.
It worked really well.
I read an article about Hans Dice, and every time you hear or see the dice, the Force theme is playing.
Huh.
It was a whole article about
I gotta check that out now.
Chants and the Force and all of that kind of stuff combined.
Yeah, and I will say that the music, the composer who did the original music, and I want to say John Howard, but I'm not sure. He was actually quite clever in that some of what he does is some really good foreshadowing. I remember the first time we saw Solo. There's a moment where our little pirate gang, they're being attacked by some other pirates, some raiders, and the music was a rather interesting selection. But as the movie then unfolds later on, you begin to realize that in rather Wagnerian style, our composer is actually trying to telegraph something to the audience.
Right.
So, in fact, not only is this a movie that I think is worth viewing, it is worth viewing more than once.
Yeah, just to catch the little things.
Yeah. So
and that's why I wanted to go back and see it again.
Yeah, I'm very disappointed that the movie is not doing better. I think it should. People really need to check this out. Maybe it'll do better for home release. But I kind of think that maybe this will force Disney to take a second look at. Pardon?
Force?
Yeah, right. This will force
the force of Disney.
The force of Disney. The force of the mouse.
Yeah.
This will force the mouse to actually take a second look at how these movies are being done, because if these offshoot films are being made to suffer because of the way the ARC films are being done, then maybe they need to rethink how the ARC films are being done. In any case, Disney's got a lot of thinking and a lot of strategizing that they've got to do about how they want to handle these Star Wars movies in the future.
Yeah. And that's it for that. And let's see, we got this now. And that's our weekly review.
Oh,
for those that only listen to the podcast or the webcast, we do have a website where we run all sorts of interesting content, and some of the things that we have for this week were Spotlight Sunday last Sunday. Was what did we do for Spotlight Sunday last?
Spotlight Sunday last Sunday.
Oh, we didn't do a Spotlight.
We didn't do one last Sunday.
Yeah, we were on the press release for Fan Fusion, Phoenix Fan Fusion.
So starting back with last Sunday, yeah. Again, you said there was absolutely no Spotlight Sunday, so that jumps us to Monday, where we had TG Geeks episode 171. That was our wrap-up of Phoenix Comic Fest for 2018. And then on Tuesday, did a little article. This was This is written by Jeannie. It's one of her.
It's one of her reprints.
Yeah,
from,
it's a reprint.
Musings of a funny girl.
Right. And it's Jeannie, You Used to Be Cool. It's actually really cute about how when she first got a publishing deal. I would recommend it. It made me laugh. It was quite funny about her desires to have a fridge. So, and then moving forward, we have Flash Gordon, which is a review of a old classic newly reviewed. And then on May 31st, there was a season wrap on Lucifer and its future. And then on May the 31st, there was an article, a press release on the LGBTQ-focused streaming service Reverie, how it's launching on
Zumo.
And Zumo. And then we had on Friday another News Sushi, Morsels of News from Japan and Beyond, issue number 13. And then on our Social Saturday, we had an art you heard from Tommy Cannon earlier. He heard him talk about his puppetry. And this was about a studio called Puppet Pie. And that is our spotlights for this last week.
Yeah, and you can find all these at tggeeks.com as well as entries on our Facebook page. Please visit the website and comment as you feel necessary. And we always have our follow-up items. Check out the calendar on the website. We've got a few things on there. There's several new books available for pre-order. And Beth Cato's Roar of Sky, and the third book in the Blood of Earth series, and The Last Sun by Katie Edwards, his first novel. And check out the widgets on the right-hand side of the page. Check out the Kickstarter for Mighty Aphrodite, the brainchild of Gene Turnbow of Krypton Radio. It's mightyaphroditewebseries.com. We'll have an interview with him soon. And the Kickstarter for Fred the Mustard Packet is...
At kickstarter.com/project/Fred-the-mustard-packet-does-the.
Thank you. Yeah. Stop. My Lord. Go to Kickstarter and look up Fred the Mustard
Packet. You'll find it from Kickstarter.
Or go to Google and do Fred the Mustard Packet. And it's
there's a lot of dashes.
Fred the Mustard Packet does the Scottish dance. Yeah. Arizona Opera's finished its season, but they have a great season coming up in October. Go to azopera.org. We are huge supporters of independent creators, as you've seen by Fred the Mustard Packet and Mighty Aphrodite. Whether they're filmmakers, comic book artists, writers, or others, please support them, buy their stuff, support their Kickstarters, etc.
Special shout out to Doctor Who Talking Who on Twitter, Michael C. Burgess on Twitter, Human Arkle on Twitter. Their addresses are at Talking Who, at Byronic, at Arkle. Doctor Who Talking Who has the Doctor Who Fancast Guide. At Byronic has Byronic's Semi-Journal Aggregator. At Arkle has the Arkle Times Post-Dispatch News. They all have paper release, which we publish our content, and we say thank you to each and every one of them.
Yes.
We'll have the links for them in our show notes. And, of course, Arkle has his presence on Tumblr. It's the Incorrect Star Trek Voyager Quotes. We'll have that link as well. And a special shout-out to the Facebook group, The Gay Geek, for allowing us to post our episodes on their page. It's a great page. If you want to see it, you'll need to sign up, but as long as you play nice, they will approve you regardless of what walk of life you come from.
Exactly.
Special shout out to their moderator, Jeremiah Reeves. He's the one who gave us his blessings to share our content there. And the URL is facebook.com/groups/thegaygeek.
Thanks, Jeremiah. And we want to remind you to occasionally click on our Amazon ads, especially those pre-orders over there. It helps the authors and helps everybody that we have a link to. And lastly, check us out on iHeartRadio and rate us and review us on iTunes and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Up next week, we are going to have an interview with Katie Edwards of The Last Sun, or a follow-up to that.
Follow-up interview.
Yeah, because next week
book's about to come out.
Exactly. So we're going to do that, and we'll talk to him next time. Okay, that should do it for this episode of TG Geeks Webcast. Be sure to check out the article for the webcast episode. We're going to have several links on the page of things we talked about and all of this other stuff. And remember, you can comment on our Facebook page or our website, tggeeks.com. Or you can leave us a voicemail at 469-TG-Geeks. That is 469-844-3357. From TG Squared Studios, I'm Keith Lane. Thanks for listening. I bid you peace.
Cheers.